Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Jonathan Larson. He's with the University of Kentucky's Extension Entomologist there. Good morning, Jonathan.
Howdy, howdy.
So, Jonathan, today we're going to talk about an insect that we've been talking about for a few years, but probably here in South Central Kentucky, it hasn't been as big of a problem as it has in areas like Lexington and maybe even some areas further west. But that's the brown marmorated stink bug.
Yes, it's this interesting looking little insect. It's a pest outdoors on crops, loves sweet corn and blueberries and tomatoes and all kinds of other things. But one thing that really annoys people about it is when it comes in as an uninvited guest in the autumn.
Yes, and apparently they come in large numbers.
Yes, you can get thousands of stink bugs that will enter your home. In nature, they would be looking for like cliff faces and large trees and things like that. They overwinter as adults. So it's a very similar situation to what people may remember with the multicolored lady beetle. It's an insect that the adults will then like look for these harborages, these spots that will protect them from cold air temperatures, and they'll kind of huddle together and hang out for the whole winter. And unfortunately, they have figured out that we live in these primo deluxe heated cliff faces and logs, basically, and they will infiltrate and use that to their advantage.
So we're talking about a stink bug. We've had
Uh-huh.
stink bugs here for a long time. What makes this one different?
So this is an invasive species. We have native stink bugs like the green stink bug and the brown stink bug. The brown marmorated is an invasive species that was accidentally introduced to the US, started in Pennsylvania and spread from there. It looks a little different. Marmorated just means speckled, basically. It's got lots of little dots on its back. If you zoomed in on it, you would notice some other differences between it and the native stink bugs. For example, its shoulders are smooth. Many of our native stink bugs have rough shoulders. They've got little spikes there. It's also got these white bands on its antenna, and that helps to separate it out from some of the other brown species that live here.
And so what can we do if we start to see some of these stink bug invaders around our home? What can we do?
If you see them on trees and stuff, it's a good indicator that maybe you're heading for a problem. Like soon they may start infiltrating the house. If you've got red bud trees and things like that, they do like some of those plants more. Box elder trees, I should say, is another one. They feed on the seeds of these different plants. But usually what happens is they start to cluster outside of your home. You'll see a group of them, and it gives you kind of an early warning sign. Oh, they're hanging out on my wall. They're hanging out near my window. If you see that, you can spray that big group of them with soapy water, actually, or just scoop them into a bucket of soapy water. It kills them. It's quick. It's efficient. And it requires no pesticidal control. If you start to see them inside, you need to go out and figure out where they're getting in at. If you have any gap in caulking, or if your door doesn't quite go all the way down, or you're missing that brush at the bottom of your door, if your garage door isn't fitting firm on the ground anymore, if you've got a hole in your roof or in screening somewhere or pipes that lead in, all of those are little entry points for them. So sealing those up, making sure you don't take away ventilation from your home, obviously, but anything that you can do to prevent their entry. Once they're inside, the best thing to do is vacuum them up. It's not a good idea to use those bug bombs. It doesn't usually get where they're living, and that's a lot of pesticide residue in your home. So we just usually recommend to people that they scoop them up and throw them outside when it's cold outside, or get them into a vacuum cleaner and dump them in a bucket of soapy water.
Okay. And so if they're outside of the home before they get in, is the recommendation there? Can we vacuum them up there if they're in such large numbers?
I would say at that point, doing the soapy water is the best thing to do. Scooping them into a bucket, killing them and destroying them. Anything that you can do to stop them from getting inside. Some people will do perimeter treatments. They'll treat the outside of their house. They'll treat around windows or on the soffit. Maybe even do a foundational spray 3 feet into the landscape. And I think 1 foot up the foundation is the normal recommendation for those home defense products. Those can help, but the timing has to be right. If you miss that window, they'll already be inside, or if you put it out too early, the residue won't be strong enough.
And unfortunately, in the state of Kentucky, it's hard to kind of pinpoint when that is going to happen. So you really have to be watchful.
Yeah, it's true. We are an interesting state. We're sort of a climatic transition zone, and so we have variable weather here. It's hard to pinpoint exact days to be looking for this, but it is as autumn sets in. So as things start to cool down, that's when the stink bugs want to make their way in. Pest proofing is the most effective way of preventing these problems.
All right. Well, Jonathan, certainly appreciate the information. If you have questions, make sure to contact your local extension office and we'd be happy to help. Thanks for watching and have a great day.